it's really fun to see those milestones that maybe they wouldn't have had in another place. You know, we know that we're giving them the best that we can.
So, how long have you been foster parents?
So we're trying to relicense. So this is
So 2 years.
2 years.
So we've been foster parents for 2 years.
Foster
Yeah, I
parents
think we
for 2 years,
started. We got
okay.
our first placement May 1st of 2020.
Okay. Oh.
So
that's
right when the pandemic was really
right
hitting.
when the pandemic
Yeah,
hit.
yeah.
Okay. How many different foster kids have you had?
We've had 3 different sets, so 5 kids.
Okay, 5 kids.
Yes,
Um,
including the ones we have now.
Yep.
Okay. How many do you have right now?
2.
2.
You have 2 right now. What are their
Yeah.
ages?
They're twins, so they're 14 months
Yeah.
and a few days. Yeah.
Oh, little guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
Little guys. Okay, so I'm just curious, why in the world would you want to become foster parents?
I think that started with me. Well, it started with you. You wanted kids.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sure about it. So I started doing a lot of testing to see if I could have children. It freaked me out. And I was like, what do I want to do? I don't know if I want to do this naturally. And we're both educators.
So we definitely
so-
saw there was a need for foster families because we
Oh,
deal with
sure.
them a lot and we see the system a lot. And we thought we could do a good job with that and provide help and also a way to start a family.
Great. Okay.
So
So the kids come and then they leave for, they're not here long term. What's that like?
It's rough. It is rough, but at the same time, it's nice to see them going to a permanent placement or going back home. So it's nice to see and makes us feel good that we helped them out in the short time they were with us.
Okay.
and just raising them while we have them, it's just like, I feel like having students in the classroom. We get to see them for a short period of time, but what we can do in that period to help them learn and grow is what's important.
So that's interesting. So you're not really necessarily focusing on the long-term stuff. You're looking at making a difference within a small window.
I think to protect our hearts, we have to
Got it.
do that. I mean, we'd love long term. We'd love to adopt one day, but for the children we have now, it's nice to know that they were raised in an environment where they're happy and healthy and safe.
So when you become a foster parent and get licensed, basically your house becomes a fishbowl. So what's that like to have people coming in and out of your house?
It's definitely interesting at first, trying to get used to that. But it's nice because everyone's always super supportive. It's people trying to help you guys and help the kids at the same time. So it's not a bad thing. I don't think we've ever shied away from people coming in and out of our house. It's just something different to get used to, that people are going to be looking at you and just trying to figure out what's going on and everything that you have in the house and stuff like that.
Okay.
Nothing is permanent. So when we have pictures in our home, we always like to fill our house with photos of our children that we currently have, but we don't have anything that's really permanent for
Yeah.
that reason.
Yeah. So I'm curious. So what's been, Melissa, for you the hardest thing about being a foster parent? I'll ask you the same question.
Yeah, the hardest thing about being a foster parent is definitely them going, because you've seen so much growth in the time that you've had them. So just watching that growth and not knowing what's next and not being able to see what their future holds. I mean, you always hope to see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And sometimes you make those connections with those family, but sometimes you don't. You just have to hope for the best. I think it's letting go.
Sure. What's the hardest thing for you?
For me, it's the unknown of not knowing how long you're going to have them, how long they're going to be with you guys, and like she said, moving forward, if they do leave, where they're at with their lives and their care. But not knowing for me of what's coming next for them, just kind of taking it day by day, giving them the best place that you possibly can in the meantime. I think that's probably the hardest part for me.
Okay. So now maybe an easier question. What's the fun part or the joys that you have in?
The milestones, just watching them take, their first, we just got to see our current placement start to crawl and they're starting to babble and actually form words that make sense. And it's really fun to see those milestones that maybe they wouldn't have had in another place. We know that we're giving them the best that we can here, and reading to them every night, just that daily routine, seeing it flourish, and they're getting interested in books, you know, brushing their teeth, they're starting to like it maybe a little bit more. But just the daily highs, I feel like that's what's most exciting, is just watching them grow day by day.
What's been some of your joys?
I love playing with them. It gives me someone to be a kid with and just hanging out with them. And I generally enjoy coming home to them every day and getting to spend time with them and teach them new things and see their growth. And like she said, the milestones are huge.
Yeah. So you probably get a lot of people in the community praising you or saying, "Oh, you guys must be so awesome." What do you think about that when people tell you that?
See, that one's weird for me, just because we kind of deal with that in the education system as well. That, like, we do things to kind of help out, and that's just the people that we are, and we went into that job for a reason. And so, kind of like fosters for me, it's just an extension of that. But it does sound weird for me that, I mean, we're doing the right thing, we're stepping up, and we're helping kids in need. I don't think it's about the praise for us at all. It just throws me off sometimes.
I think they help us grow more than we help them. I think just like as an adult, I've like changed as a person with these children in our home. So I just feel like they make us better people as we're trying to make them better people too.
Yeah, sure. So let's pretend I was a friend and came over and saw what you did and said, "You know what, I've been thinking about this myself. What would you tell me to convince me to cross the line and actually go for it?"
I would say there are definite lows, there's definite highs, but the highs are really high, and it's been amazing. I wouldn't go back and second guess it.
What would you tell me?
I mean, I've had people ask me about it. So yeah, there are highs and lows, but I think you learn a lot about yourself as you go through this process. So I feel like it's only going to make you a better person coming out of it. I think every child that we've had in our care has taught us something new and made us better parents, better people. And so I would say go for it if that's your calling. And if, you know, they try it out and they don't love it, that's okay. But that's one more kid that needed that person in their life.
Right.
So no matter what, I mean, some people foster for years and some only do it for a couple kids, but either way, I think those children, that's what they needed in that moment. So I say for anyone that asks, go for it.
Wow. Yeah, so tell me about the licensing process.
Our hardest part with the licensing process was our pool. I think that's everyone's hardest part though, just having a fence around it. But honestly, everyone gets so hung up on the licensing part and having the inspection done, and it really wasn't as bad. I mean,
No, I don't think the whole process was super difficult at all. Rise really walked us kind of through it in the mail with us and did pre-stuff to kind of walk us through the whole process. Say, hey, you need to adjust this, and it was never super high pressure or anything, and like
everything could
everything's
be
given
fixed
to you, and yeah, there's ways to fix it and easy ways to fix it. Licensing wasn't a big hang up for us.
I think it was also like good practices as like a parent. I'm realizing more and more when I talk to parents that are not in foster care that maybe they don't lock up their medicines, or maybe they're not putting things in certain areas of their house, or they don't have a fire extinguisher upstairs and downstairs. And I really feel like that's kind of just a good practice as a parent. And if I would have never gone through this process, maybe if I would have naturally had children, I wouldn't have done those things. Mm-hmm. And I really like that it kind of gave us a guideline of what to do for good parenting.
Mm-hmm. Good, very good. You guys?
Well, from the very beginning, when you go to Rise and you decide you want to get licensed, what happened? Like, what did you do?
Oh yeah, our
That was
first
2 years ago.
No, we went actually on January 1st, 2020. I remember we had an intake interview on that day, and it was really revealing. Like, they asked a lot of questions of us, and we asked a lot of questions. We were able to ask those questions, which made me a lot more comfortable stepping forward and going through this process, because we got to kind of up front get what we needed out of Rise, and to know what we were getting ourselves into. And I think that was important for us to take that leap and kind of move forward into those classes.
Yeah, I think honestly the hardest part was actually deciding to do it. And once we got there, it was pretty easy. We did the intake interview. They asked us individual questions, and we just kind of had to go over some stuff and kind of like saw how the process worked. But that was easy once we did it. you.